There's an Academy Award winner doing the callouts on this machine. There's a WWF legend hiding in one of the modes. They made around 5,000, and then 9 years later, they did something that had only been done once before in the history of pinball. They brought it back and called it a Vault Edition. Stick around and I'll explain a cool connection between these comics from the 90s and the different versions of this pinball machine. I'm Ryan, this is The Skill Shot, and today we're talking about Spider-Man.
Can Spider-Man come out to play?
This is a Steve Ritchie machine, and if that name doesn't mean anything to you, go back and watch last week's episode about the Black Knight. Ritchie has been designing pins for over 50 years, and through the 80s and 90s, he defined the era. Fast forward to 2007, and Ritchie is at stern when they secure the license for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man Trilogy. The theme for this game comes from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man Trilogy. The game launched in 2007, the same summer Spider-Man 3 hit theaters. It may not be the best Spider-Man film, but it made for a great pin because all the villains were here. Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Sandman, and Venom. Beat all 4 villain modes and you unlock Battle Royale, Spider-Man's wizard mode. Right in the middle you've got Sandman. He sits behind a motorized drop wall that cycles up and down depending on the mode. When it's up, the center is blocked. When it drops, it opens a dangerous shot into a hidden target bank. Over on the right, we have Doc Ock and his fusion malfunction magnet. Depending on what mode Doc is in, sometimes it will release the ball, and other times it'll hold on to it until you knock it off with a second ball to start a multi-ball. On the left is Green Goblin, flying high on his glider above a bank of targets. You hit those targets to qualify your Goblin modes. And right next to him, you've got the 2 Venom ramps. It's a fun layout, and every shot has a clear purpose. The game has those 4 easily recognizable Spider-Man villains. But who is this Bonesaw guy? That's a deep cut even for a nerd like me. It turns out Bonesaw McGraw is the wrestler Peter Parker fights in a cage match in the original 2002 Spider-Man movie.
You're going nowhere!
When Peter was still trying to win some prize money before learning that with great power comes great responsibility. Bonesaw was played by WWF wrestler Randy Macho Man Savage. As far as I know, Macho Man is the only wrestler to appear in a pinball machine that isn't a WWF-themed pin. The mode is a switch frenzy. You've got to hit 100 switches in 40 seconds. It has the same frantic feel as the fight between Spider-Man and Bonesaw in the movie. Rip the spinner, get into the pops, and that's how you defeat Bonesaw. There's one more thing that makes this machine special, and you can only hear it.
Hey, this isn't a spectator sport.
That's J.K. Simmons, who played J. Jonah Jameson in every Raimi Spider-Man movie. He came to a recording studio in 2007 and laid down original dialogue specifically for this pinball machine.
You're fired. Right, you're unfired. I need you. Come here.
When Stern released the Vault edition of this game in 2016, they no longer held the Raimi movie license. Because of that, there were some major changes. All the shots are the same, but this machine has artwork from the Tobey Maguire trilogy. The Vault edition has some great looking comic book art. Bonesaw was also removed and replaced by Electro, which makes sense because Electro is the more recognizable villain from the Spider-Man comics. Also, without the license, the Vault edition shipped with different callouts by a different voice actor. The original J.K. Simmons recordings are only in the 2007 original. Some collectors have actually built mods to put the J.K. Simmons audio back into the Vault machine. One thing I love about this hobby is that pinball actually encourages you to make a machine yours. The balls even have spider webs etched into them. And I've added these little Spider-Man toys all over the playfield. These are just action figures mounted with double-sided tape to put more Spider-Men into the Spider-Man pin. In a lot of collecting hobbies, you're encouraged to keep everything in the box. Don't play with the toy, keep it original. Pinball is different. In pinball, you add the action figures, you take off the legs and have them powder coated a different color, you make it yours. And rather than penalizing you for it, your fellow pinball nerds come over and fawn over the mods and little tweaks you've made. At the start of the video, I promised to explain the connection between the two versions of Stern's 2007 Spider-Man pinball machine and the comics on my wall. When Stern released this game, they put out two models, this standard edition and another with a rare black and silver color scheme. The dual release wasn't random. It was a direct nod to the 90s comic book culture I grew up with. Take a look at this Spider-Man #1 from August 1990. It sold a whopping 2.5 million copies. But it didn't reach that number by accident. Marvel achieved this by pioneering variant covers. This yellow version is the newsstand edition, while the black and silver variant was exclusive to comic shops. They even printed gold and platinum editions in an effort to get collectors to buy the same book multiple times, and it worked on me at least twice. Stern ran the exact same playbook. They produced 4,600 standard units and just 500 of the black versions for the hardcore collectors. Having these books on my wall is a great reminder of that era. This specific copy actually sat sealed in its original 1990 poly bag for nearly 30 years until I sent it away to be graded during COVID. It captures Todd McFarlane, the legendary artist who popularized spaghetti webbing at the height of his powers. McFarlane is the guy who drew those hyper-detailed twisting webs that redefined the character's look. Before him, webbing was just simple lines. McFarlane turned the webs into an art of their own, filling every empty space on the page. And now I have the Spider-Man pin next to my childhood comics as part of my own little Spider-Man shrine. Maybe I'll add some webs. So that's Spider-Man. Now let's give it a flip score. On shots, the Steve Ritchie geometry really shines here. The flowing ramps, the inner loops, the satisfying upper flipper reward, 18 out of 20. On code and depth, you've got 4 villain pass, 5 timed modes, fun multi-balls, a great wizard mode. It's intuitive and easy to understand, and it's fun to execute, 17 out of 20. For theme, every major toy directly represents a cinematic moment. The Sandman sinkhole, the Doc Ock magnet, the Goblin's glider, a whole syndicate of villains teaming up against Spider-Man, 18 out of 20. For build quality, the Sam platform is great, and original 2007 electronics and motorized sand walls are still running strong on location today, 17 out of 20. For resale value, an original 2007 machine in good shape trades between $4,000 and $5,500. And the newer 2016 Vault Edition runs between $6,000 and $7,500. It's a stable investment. You can buy this game, enjoy it for a couple years, and easily get your money back out, 17 out of 20. That's a total flip score of 87 out of 100, a solid A-. If you want a Marvel-themed pinball machine, you've got plenty of great modern options. Deadpool, Avengers Infinity Quest, Iron Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, and more. But if Spider-Man is your favorite character, Stern's 2007 Spider-Man remains one of the strongest licensed games they've ever built. And if you can find a clean example at a fair price, don't hesitate. More than 15 years after its release, it's still one of the most popular superhero pinball machines ever made. Subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, where we're going on an adventure with a mystery pinball machine. There's a digital book on the Playfield. The voice acting comes from 3 Oscar-nominated actors. It's based on a film trilogy, and there's lots of gold. Think you know which machine I'm talking about? Drop your guess in the comments, and I'll see you next week on the Skill Shot.